Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over this week's iRacing DFS contest, this time at Dover International Speedway. Hopefully you guys had a good week last week at Talladega. As always at any super speedway, it was pretty much a mess, so hopefully you guys just avoided the wrecks and had a pretty profitable week. But before we continue, as always, if you guys could just leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. I'm going to be here all season long trying to help you guys out as much as I can with NASCAR DFS. So if you're going to stick around for the ride, you might as well hit that subscribe button and help me out, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any content that I put out whenever I post it. If you're going to follow me on Twitter, I'm at ChrisPennell16, and I'll give you a couple good reasons to follow me on Twitter. One, I want more followers. That'd be pretty nice. And two, I try to retweet as much important information that I can for you guys for DFS purposes, and I also tweet out my own stuff as well, because I know finding NASCAR information may be hard for some of you who are not too into NASCAR. Well, I know where to find it, so I'll try to retweet it for you guys. And if you're going to follow me on Instagram, I'm at cpenn16, and for the month of May, I am able to open up my Patreon. I did not do any Patreon content for the month of April because I'm not going to charge anyone for iRacing content because it's just a stupid video game. Not stupid video game, but it's just a video game. So not really anything I would think I should really charge for. And I can't really make too much content because I don't really know the qualifying order beforehand. But we are going to get 5 confirmed actual NASCAR Cup races for the month of May, starting on May 17th at Darlington. So very excited to be able to do some Patreon content starting on May 7th. I'll probably put it out a couple of days beforehand whenever we get the salaries out. But I do projections for that, and I feel like I make pretty good projections. I know I've had quite a few people win GPP so far just plugging in my projections and running it in an optimizer. So I feel like my projections are pretty good. I also do tier rankings. I do a strategy article breaking down everything. I think what's going to happen in the race. Go over the strategy I'm going to use and, favorite plays, fades, whatever. Do my tier rankings and have my spreadsheet as well in my Discord chat where you can ask me all the questions you want. And I think that's pretty much it for plugging. The links are in the description below if you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, whatever. So I think that's enough plugging. Let's get into the preview of this race before we get into the driver-by-driver breakdown. Alright, so just going over the race preview. This is the Dover Pro Invitational. Don't know what else to call it. There's probably a certain name for it, but don't really care that much to look out for it. So it's the Dover Pro Invitational. There's the outline of the track. I know, nothing special. It's just an oval. For the track, Dover International Speedway, track type, it's a steep oval. It's 1 mile in length. Some call it the Monster Mile. It's 150 laps, so a lot more laps than we had last week. I think over double, 70, yeah, over double. So we're going to have 112.5 Dominator points available, which means we're probably going to want a Dominator, because if you don't have a Dominator and you miss out the guy who leads all the laps, you're probably not going to have the optimal lineup, even though there's a lot of good place differential plays. So definitely going to want a Dominator. I mean, you could probably get away with not having one and just stacking the back 3, and that might work out. But I would feel pretty safe having a Dominator, but I totally get the place differential strategy. It's a lot safer because if you put all your money on a Dominator and they don't dominate, you are absolutely screwed because you wasted your money. But the guys starting in the back, they're probably going to get up near the front. So definitely safer, but you're probably going to want a Dominator in your lineup. But I think both strategies are fine. And just some notes, we're going to have that 2-lap qualifying prior to the race, so hopefully Draftkings moves back the start time. They have been doing that every single time, so I don't see why they wouldn't. I think it still says 1 o'clock, but then they push it back to 1:10, and then we have the qualifying at around 12:53. So we get 10 minutes to process all this information. I got to plug it into my projections, and it's a mess. But I'll try to retweet the qualifying order when I get it on Twitter, and just make sure you have your eyes peeled for that, because that's the single biggest edge we have in iRacing, just knowing the qualifying order. That puts you on a whole different, a lot of people don't know the starting order for that iRacing contest, so just even having that information is definitely detrimental to your success for iRacing. And 1 full fast reset, and the guys that are starting in the rear are Bowman, LaJoie, and Preece. Then they're going to invert the top 10 of qualifying like they did last week, but that will not interfere with the starting order on Draftkings. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the preview. We can get into the driver-by-driver breakdown. Alright, so time to go down driver by driver. So as you can see, we have William Byron, as no surprise, as the highest priced driver. And they priced him all the way up to the moon. He is now $13,000, and he is super expensive. And let me tell you now, if you play him, you better hope he dominates the race and wins. I mean, he could finish second or third if he dominates over 100 laps, but you better hope he balls out like he has been. And I will say, I don't have any Talladega stats on here. I'm only using the last 4 races, excluding Talladega because I am not using a super speedway race into any of these statistics because it's a super speedway race and they really don't apply here. So just so you guys know, I know there's been 5 races, but not using that data. But yeah, anyway, he's been out of this world. He's dominated quite a few races already. He does have 2 wins, and he's averaging 39 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 10.75. But as I've said in multiple videos, that number is skewed because he got into a wreck with Alex Bowman one of the earlier races, and he finished near dead last. So it's going to skew his stats a little bit. But, I mean, if you had to guess who's going to start on the pole, it's always going to be William Byron. He's got an average starting position of 2. And again, the average PD is going to look gross because of that one wreck, but the guy's been absolutely stellar. He's got 2 wins, which is better than anybody here. 318 laps led, which is, again, by far, no one else is even close to him. Second best is Ryan Preece at 67. I mean, if you had to guess who's going to dominate this race, yeah, it's William Byron. Yes, I know his price is absolutely insane, but if he dominates, if he starts on the pole and leads 130 laps and wins the race, if you don't have him, you're probably losing unless all 3 of these place differential, unless like Alex Bowman and Ryan Preece get like 37 spot place differential points. I mean, William Byron though, he's just such a lock and loaded play to just dominate the race. Now there's scenarios where he won't dominate the race, but I mean chances are he's going to get up front, lead some laps, and probably win the race. If I had to guess who's going to win the race, yeah, it's going to be William Byron. He's the Vegas favorite. He's just the best at this, plain and simple. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. If you look at the driver log, put that over there. If you look at his start so far, he started second, first, third, finished first, 7th, 34th. You got to throw that race out of the window. But 80 fantasy points, 84 fantasy points. So even if those guys do start in the back, which they are, and get up front, get a top 5 or top 10, I mean, chances are William Byron can still outscore them fairly easily. So definitely like William Byron. Obviously, he's the top choice as a dominator, and I think it's a tough decision between him or some of those place differential guys. The place differential guys are obviously very safe, but William Byron, if he's on the pole, it's probably going to be another 100 lap led race and probably close to 90 fantasy points. So yes, I like William Byron. He is just the best iRacer here. Timmy Hill, another guy who's been absolutely amazing so far. And again, I'm excluding these Talladega stats just in case anyone skipped around. Yes, there's no Talladega stats on this video. But he's averaging 52 DraftKings points per race, which is better than any driver by about 8. So he's far and away been just the most consistent. I know William Byron's been amazing, but he did wreck that race, and I can't just completely throw that out. So Timmy Hill has technically been the most consistent driver. Average finish of 2.25, average starting position of 8, which does give him some 6 average place differential points per race, which is nice, but it's in a little bit of a floor there. Does have a win, 22 laps led, 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s. He's finished in the top 5 every single race. If you look at the driver log, Timmy Hill, he started 7th, 10th, 5th, finished 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 3rd. Top 3 every single race, and nearly 50 fantasy points every single time. So Timmy Hill, yes, he's a fantastic option. He's a GPP option compared to William Byron. Is if you have to pick between the two, yeah, I'm always going to take William Byron. Now, depending on how qualifying goes, say Timmy Hill qualifies into the rear, I don't know. And you get to save a couple $1,000, not a couple thousand. You get to save $1,000 and get that PD up potential. But I mean, chances are William Byron's going to outscore Timmy Hill, and if he leads all those laps, it probably won't be as close as you might think. So I think Timmy Hill's fine in GPPs, but definitely feel safer with William Byron. And you can't play all these 10K guys, and there's just so many good options. So I can't tell you can play all these guys. So if I had to pick between one or the other, I'm going to go William Byron without knowing where they're qualifying yet. Garrett Smithley, he's extremely expensive, $11,300. Seems a bit expensive compared to where he has been, but can't argue the numbers. He's been very, very good, averaging 44 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 8.5, average starting position of 10, which is nice because he's getting us a little bit of place differential upside. Hasn't led too many laps, 24, which a lot of guys have not led laps. It's pretty much just been William Byron and some other guys thrown in there. But nice that he's been up front at least. 2 top 5s as well, 3 top 10s. Nothing bad I can say about Garrett Smithley. I'm not going to go into driver log every single driver. I mean, I could. It's kind of out of order this time because I kept it the same as last week. But as you can see, he's been starting in the 10s, so does have that PD upside and top 3 potential. So yeah, Garrett Smithley's fine. Ryan Preece, he is starting in the rear, which makes him one of the best plays on the entire slate because he has massive, massive PD upside, and he's been very, very good so far. He has an average starting position of 6, and now he's going to be starting in the late 30s, so definitely like the upside here for Ryan Preece. Average finish of 8.75, so I mean, if you just do the math on there, that's over around 30 place differential points just locked and loaded right there. Then you put in the finishing position points. He should have a very, very good day. He does have 67 laps led, which is second best out of all drivers. Did start in the pool that one race. William Byron ended up leaping over him, but leaping over him. You guys know what I mean, passing him. I was just looking for a different word. And it does have a top 5, 3 top 10. So yeah, Ryan Preece, I think he's totally fine. Denny Hamlin, I played a lot of Denny Hamlin last week. He was actually my host on Driver because I wanted to pivot off of some of that chalk. I had 60% William Byron. Then I had a lot of Parker Kligerman. I think I had like over 70% Parker Kligerman. And I think I had 78% Denny Hamlin. I just wanted to go a little bit aggressive on someone. And I tend to play more aggressive when I go 150 lineups. So I played 78% Denny Hamlin just to get off of the Byron Hill whatever chalk. And he was starting in the rear. And people didn't know he was going to start in the rear before the race unless you paid attention to qualifying. So I'm like, all right, he should be the lower owned of the bunch. He came in at 25% owned. Thought I was getting a steal. Well, early on he gets into a wreck, so he goes a lap down. And then there's a video of Twitter after the race that Denny Hamlin's daughter went in the sim rig room, whatever you want to call it, had a remote in her hand, turned the monitor off. So his race was over thanks to his daughter turning the monitor off. So that sucks. She must have full faded him that day at DFS. I don't know. It sucked. But putting that aside, he's been very, very good iRacing so far. And the thing is, he tends to start near the rear. I don't know what happens in qualifying, but he doesn't qualify that well, which always makes him a pretty solid place differential play so far. Now, I mean, he's priced right by Ryan Preece and Alex Bowman, so he's going to be extremely, I shouldn't say extremely because he's Denny Hamlin, but he's going to be a lot lower owned than those two, because that's just general information that everyone knows, that Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman, they're going to be starting in the rear if they're paying attention. So Denny Hamlin, I don't know where he's going to start, but he's definitely going to be lower owned than Preece and Bowman, so this makes him a GPP play only for me, unless he's starting in the absolute rear, then yeah, he's fine. Not absolute rear, but like right in front of those guys, but nonetheless, 44.42 DraftKings points per race so far. Very, very good. Average finish of 8.75. Average PD of 8, so he's getting those place differential spots. Does have a win so far. He won that first race, battled Dale Jr. there at the end. At Homestead, has led 17 laps, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Denny Hamlin, I think he's a fine play, but again, Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman, sandwiched right in between them, so he's going to be lower owned than those guys, and it's probably for a good reason. Alex Bowman, he comes in at 10K. So he's definitely going to be the safest play of this entire tier because he's the cheapest, and we know he's starting in the rear, and he's been very good so far. He's averaging 40 DraftKings points per race, and he won last week, so his name's been in the news, if you want to call it, on Twitter, so definitely should boost his ownership. Average finish of 11.75, average starting position of 15th, average PD of 4, doesn't have any wins, only 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. I guess he does have a win last week at Talladega. And that would make him have 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. But again, I'm not using Talladega data because it's just a complete mess. But yeah, Bowman, definitely a great play. 10K, cheapest of this tier. Going to be starting in the rear. Pretty much no downside for Alex Bowman. Parker Kligerman, he got wrecked at the very end. He was in the top 5. And then someone wrecked him. I think it was Joey Logano, which I had a lot of Joey Logano. It was looking like a really good week. Then all my guys wrecked at the very end. But hey, that's Talladega. That's how it goes sometimes. Parker Kligerman, yeah, he's fine, but I just don't see the reason of playing him over Alex Bowman, who's right near him. So probably not someone I'm going to have too much ownership on. I mean, I don't know where he's going to end up starting, but just looking into the future here, I'll definitely have a lot more Alex Bowman than I would Parker Kligerman, so probably not going to be on my radar too much, especially with an average starting position of 4. Dale Jr., not someone I've been really playing. I only averaging 31 DraftKings points per race. Average finish of 9.5 is pretty good. The problem is he usually starts way too high. Average starting position of 4th, and I just don't see him dominating the race over someone like William Byron, Timmy Hill, and he's definitely not going to be a better play than Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman. So Dale Jr., GPP play, going to have ownership just because that's his name. Kyle Busch, another guy, he's improving pretty much every single week. He's gotten better, he's been putting in the practice, and it's showing. Now he's only averaging 22 DraftKings points per race, average starting position of 22 though, which makes him very appealing because he tends to not qualify that good. Average finish of 17.25. But if you do look at the driver log, he has been improving each week. He started 34th, finished 29th. That was the first race. Then started 19th, finished 17th. Started 6th, finished 18th. Started 27th, finished 5th. So yeah, I think Kyle Busch is fine. But again, he's in a tough price range because there's a guy named Corey LaJoie at 8,400 that everyone's going to want to play over him, and it's definitely deservedly so. So again, Kyle Busch is someone we have to wait to see how qualifying goes. Maybe he somehow gets on the pool. Not likely, but if he's in the rear, definitely a pretty good play. GPP play if he starts near the middle. John Hunter Nemechek, younger guy, not too bad at iRacing, but just not someone I don't think I'm going to have too much interest in just because he's in a weird price range. He's fine, though. He's averaging 27 DraftKings points per race. Average finish of 14, which is -4 spots from where he's starting. I don't know, just not someone I have too much interest in. Does have 2 top 10s, though, which is nice. But Nemechek, GPP play for me. Christopher Bell, I've played so much Christopher Bell. I don't know if it's just because we have the same name, so I'm kind of just gravitating towards him. But he keeps screwing me every single week, man. Every single week. And it's because he's starting in the back every single time. I think he started in the back in Talladega. I want to say he ended up getting wrecked, but the guy just keeps starting in the back, and he keeps finishing in the back. He keeps getting wrecked. Now, he's actually a pretty seasoned iRacer, so he's got the experience, and he's priced correctly because he does iRace quite a bit, and I don't know, he just keeps getting caught in the wreck. I'd like to see him be a little bit cheaper, but apparently DraftKings realizes he's not that bad at iRacing, and he's just getting screwed. But average finish of 24, I mean, you can't look past that. He's a bad luck magnet. He's a bad luck magnet in actual NASCAR so far as well, so I don't know, maybe he's just got bad luck on him, but I don't mind. If he's going to start in the back again, yeah, I'll have some interest, but just be ready for him to screw you again. If you look at the driver log, again, he's always starting in the back. If I can find him. Again, this is out of order. Yeah, he started 27th, 14th, 3rd, 29th. So, more than likely going to start further back, and if he does, yeah, I'll have some minimal interest. Corey LaJoie, one of the best plays in the entire slate, 8,400, so I could probably see him being my highest owned driver, just because I don't have to pay $12K for him, and he's going to start in the rear, and he can only move up. So Corey LaJoie, tell you right now, probably going to be my highest owned driver. And there's just really nothing else to say. He has not made any of the races besides the Talladega race, but he did drive pretty well in that, so that was nice to see. And given that, I like Corey LaJoie quite a bit. If you're going to go 100% Corey LaJoie, I totally get it. Now, could he be the first guy that wrecks out and screw you? Yeah, so that's a risk you have to be willing to take. Maybe you play 60% of them and hope he wrecks. You might have some edge in the field, but Corey LaJoie definitely is cash game stable if you guys are playing cash games, or single entry is probably the first guy you want to plug in. Landon Castle, haven't really been playing too much Landon Castle. He's not bad or anything, but I don't know, he just starts in awkward positions, and his price is kind of awkward, so I don't really play him too much. Now, the price has gone all the way down to 8,200, which is not too bad. I remember when he was around 9K, but he's not bad. 10th average finish of 10th, averaging 30 DraftKings points per race. 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. Not bad by any means. Just not someone I really played too much, but nothing against him. Matthew Benedetto, he comes in at 8K. Been pretty good so far, averaging 41 DraftKings points per race. Did intentionally wreck someone. I forget exactly who it was. Was it Ryan Preece? Yeah, he intentionally wrecked Ryan Preece the one race in his giraffe suit. I don't know. He's pretty good iRacer, so don't mind Matthew Benedetto. He's pretty good at steep tracks as well, so I do like that. Average start of 16th, average finish of 14.5, averaging 2 place differential spots per race. Does have a top 5. I think Matthew Benedetto is just fine. Michael McDowell comes in at 7,800. He's kind of like a guy, just depends on where he qualifies, averaging 30 DraftKings points per race. Average start of 17th. Doesn't get me too excited, so again, just wait and see how he does in qualifying. Just have 4 laps led, though. Doesn't mean much, though. Tyler Reddick, averaging 21 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 13.3. Had a really good race the one time, if I can find him on this chart. Yeah, he started 13th and finished 8th that race. Had 43 DraftKings points in the last race. He had 41 DraftKings points. So besides the Texas race, he's been very, very good. So don't mind Tyler Reddick. Just depends where he starts. If he starts around 13th, 10th, not that much interest. But if he starts in the 20s, yeah, you could sprinkle in some Tyler Reddick. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Bobby Labonte. The reason I like Bobby Labonte is because he's just there for a good time. He's not trying to make a name for himself. He's already done that. I mean, a lot of these guys have already made a name for themselves. But, you know, guys like Timmy Hill, not a big actual NASCAR driver. So this is giving him some, you know, attention in the news, which is nice. But Bobby Labonte, he's just there for a good time. He's not going to be too aggressive, which is kind of what you want in iRacing because it's very easy to just wreck. So Bobby Labonte, if he can just chill and get a top 15, we'll take it. He's got an average finish of 14.5, averaging 37 DraftKings points per race, average PD of 7th, which is very good compared to most drivers. So Bobby Labonte, yeah, if he's going to start around 22nd, which it's where his average starting position is 22nd. If he starts around the 20s, I think he's a fine play at a fair price tag of 7,500. And if you look at the driver log, he's actually been starting. He's right there. He started 29th, 6th, 30th, 21st. So, and he's been finishing pretty much right in the 10s and teens. So that's all we need for a decent day from Bobby Labonte. Going down the list a little bit more, we have Kevin Harvick, who made one. He's He made 2 races, but I'm not using any Talladega. So he's had 1 actual race. He had 0 points. He finished 29th, started 17th, and negative 12 place differential spots. It's only 1 race. Now, the guy's not a big iRacer. He's extremely good in real life, but iRacing, not so much. But I don't hate it. It just, if he starts in the back, we'll take it. If not, no thank you. Seems a bit expensive, to be honest. Brett Keselowski at 7,200. Not the greatest iRacer. Very good in real life, just not that great at iRacing. Only averaging 21 DraftKings points per race. Average start of 20th. Average finish of 20th. It's probably what you're going to get out of Brett Keselowski. Joey Logano hasn't been as bad as Brett Keselowski, his teammate. Not pretty, but it's not been too bad. He was having a really good race last week. Then he got wrecked. Him and Parker Kligerman. So I kind of sucked because I had a lot of them. But I don't mind Logano if he's going to start in the back. Averaging 30 DraftKings points per race. Has 3 races. He's fine. Just, again, another guy you have to wait and see how qualifying goes. Eric Jones, he starts in the back pretty much every single race, which is nice because he's actually not terrible. The problem with Eric Jones is he has bad internet. Now, since the 1 race where he screwed me, of course, he has not had internet problems. So maybe that's out of the way. He's upgraded his internet. I don't know what he had before, but apparently it's working, and it's working out for DFS purposes. And he's averaging 8 place differential spots per race, which is tied for best out of all drivers, him and Denny Hamlin. Average starting spot of 26th, average finish of 17th. And if you look at the driver log, if I can find Eric Jones. Actually, I think he was just there. Okay, yeah. He started 25th, 22nd, 31st, 24th, finished 10th, 21st, 31st, 7th. So chances are he's going to start in the 20s, and if he can just move up a little bit, we'll take it. I don't mind Eric Jones, and did have a top 10 finish at Homestead, and he had a top 10 finish again at, what was that? I think it was Richmond. So he has 2 top 10s so far, so Eric Jones, honestly, is not that bad. So I don't mind him, especially if he's going to start in the back like he has been. And he's only 6,800, so I don't mind Eric Jones at all. Kurt Busch, 6,600, not a big iRacer, but he hasn't been too bad. All these guys tend to start in the back, which make them decent plays, because we need place differential plays, and they're pretty cheap. So they don't even have to be that good. Just avoid some wrecks and hopefully move up. Yeah, so Kurt Busch, again, nothing too exciting. Average starting position of 24th, which when we're getting to this price range, that's what I want to see. I don't need these guys to dominate. I just need them to survive and move up a little bit. So Kurt Busch, I don't mind him. I believe he's been starting in the back quite a bit as well. If I can find him on the 31st, 30th, 17th, 16th. So pretty much what we need him to start at. Ross Chastain, average starting spot of 19th, so a little bit higher than I'd like. But I like his price point. He's only 6,500, averaging nearly 30 DraftKings points per race, averaging 3 PD spots per race. Chastain's fine. Again, none of these guys are exciting. It just depends on where they're going to qualify tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on Sunday. Getting ahead of myself. Ryan Blaney, amazing in real life, not so much in iRacing at all. Average finish of 25.3, was pretty good at Talladega because he qualified in the rear. So I believe he had a very good day. I forget exactly what he did, but I think he finished 17th, which is fine because he started in the 30s. So he had a pretty good day, but at these regular tracks, he has not been too hot. If you look at the driver log, I believe he's finished 27th, 26th, 23rd. So it's not been too pretty for Ryan Blaney. Ty Dillon, 6,200, a guy I play a lot in real life, and he's not been too bad at iRacing either. Average starting spot of 24th, average finish of 18, averaging nearly 30 DraftKings points per race, averaging 5 PD spots per race. That's what I like to see, especially out of a guy at this price point. Ty Dillon started 28th, 24th, 18th, 26th, finishes in the teens, and had 25th place finish at Bristol, but other than that, he's been very good. So Ty Dillon, don't mind him at all. I think he's a very solid cheap play as long as he qualifies like 24 and back. Jimmy Johnson, he sucks at iRacing. Much better in real life. One of the best of all time. iRacing, not really his thing. We need him to qualify in the back just for him to be interesting. And even then, it's kind of ugly. Again, he's just to figure out where he's going to start. And if he starts in the back, yeah, you can play him at 6K. Don't hate it. Brendan Poole, he has 1 race sample, and that was at Talladega, so I'm not going to use that. Just tell me data on that. Daniel Suarez, he sucks. I hate playing him. I don't like him in real life either. So Daniel Suarez, it's kind of is what it is. If he qualifies in the very back, yeah, you could look at him as a cheap play, but not really a fan of playing Daniel Suarez. Joey Gase, again, all these guys in the back, we don't really have any data on because they just ran the Talladega race, so I'm going to skip over pretty much almost all of these guys. If they qualify in the rear, they're fine plays. And again, we're going to have to play some of these cheap guys, and I don't even mind going stars and scrubs on this slate Because you're going to want to play guys like Bowman. You're going to want to play Preece. LaJoie's not that expensive. But you're going to play Byron. So you're going to have to go stars and scrubs pretty much to fit these guys in. So if you want to play guys like Gase, Custer, Dillon, Almirola, Busher, Fincham, Yaley, Regan Smith, I totally get it. They just need to qualify in the back for them to be viable. So if they qualify up front, they're going to have to finish up front. I just don't really see that happening. Is it possible? Yes, but the floor is very, very low with that. And the ceiling's not that high either. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about these guys. Busher's actually has a pretty nice sample size. So is Austin Dillon. Dillon's not been starting. I was going to say he's not been that bad. I was thinking of something else. He's actually been very bad, averaging -9 place differential spots per race. I wasn't even going to say much better in real life because he's not that great in real life either. But yeah, not much interest in Austin Dillon. He was on one optimal lineup because he started in the back. If I can actually look up that race, I'm interested to see what he got. Yeah, he started 24th, finished 15th, got 39 Draftkings points. Other than that, it's been pretty bad. So that's pretty much all I can talk about for these drivers. So I think a stars and scrubs approach is definitely viable. Corey LaJoie, 8,400, definitely a very, very good play. So maybe, I don't even know what roster construction would look like. I don't know if you can fit in, I don't know, Byron, I don't know, maybe like a Byron, Bowman, LaJoie, if that's possible. And then fit in some of these other guys. I haven't done any lineups yet, so we'll have to see. But yeah, it's going to be pretty much for this video. Hope it was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. Follow me over on Twitter. I'm at ChrisPennell16. Sign up for Patreon if you want. It's the first of the month. It's the best time to sign up, and I will be pumping out content on Patreon for that. That's pretty much going to be it. I hope you guys stay safe and enjoy the virtual race on Sunday, and we can get back to real racing soon.